This brand made millions on TikTok Shop, but $0 on Facebook. We're going to change that in just 2 months. Welcome to our 0 to 100K video series, a real behind the scenes case study where we help a TikTok Shop brand, Chalkbox, scale from 0 to 100K in meta ad revenue in just 8 weeks. We're documenting every step from building ad dashboards and launching creatives to analyzing results and scaling strategy. This video series will give you a behind the scenes look over the course of the campaign. This isn't theory, it's raw, real-time executions, breakdowns, wins, losses, and learnings as we go. If you don't know me yet, I'm Uri, CEO of Growth Collective. I work with e-com founders who've hit 7 figures but feel stuck trying to break through that next level. Whether you're a brand owner, media buyer, or just planning to scale in 2026, you'll get an inside look at how we grow D2C brands fast and starting from scratch. Let's get into it.
The client here is Chalkbox LA, a direct-to-consumer e-commerce brand specializing in viral, delicious, and highly giftable chocolate making kits and bars. To date, the brand has sold over 250,000 chocolate bars and kits and is proudly the #1 rated Dubai chocolate bar on both Amazon and TikTok. Although they've seen a lot of success over the past 2 years, they approached us because they have 2 main problems. The first was a strategic concern. Their growth had become overly dependent on a single channel, one that's both powerful and increasingly volatile. Looking into 2026, they recognized that relying on one primary acquisition channel, TikTok Shop, for example, was not sustainable or scalable in a long-term strategy. The second problem is that as they try and break into an omni-channel presence, the team had very limited experience, specifically within meta advertising and growing their direct-to-consumer storefront through their own Shopify store. So while they had previously experimented with meta ads in the past, the effort was minimal, and we'll go through that today. They spent about $2,000 in the account and yielded very little results. The challenges aren't just performance-based in this series, but they're also resource prohibitive. The founder and their resources included in their business right now meant that it was difficult to navigate and understand the ad accounts. They didn't know how to read it. They didn't know what creative to launch, what type of objectives to launch, etc. Everything from the beginning. And they have a lack of clarity on how Meta could function as a reliable D2C growth engine as a whole. So as a result, they turned to us to help unlock direct-to-consumer growth with Meta positioned as the primary channel. So their ask was, make Meta work. Over the next 2 months, we're going all in with Meta. We're targeting $30,000 to $50,000 in spend over the next 8 weeks, while maintaining a ROAS of at least 2x plus. The objective is twofold. Number 1, establish a strong, scalable foundation for Meta advertising. And number 2, prove Meta as a profitable and repeatable acquisition channel for Chalkbox. This phase is about validation, system building, and setting the groundwork for long-term omni-channel growth. Before getting started on any account, and in order to begin crafting our strategy, we need to do an audit, a deep dive, and understand the current state of an account, what worked in the account, what didn't work in the account, and what we should be doing in order to put our best foot forward. So I've gone ahead and audited the Chalkbox LA account. And although there's very, very limited spend, we need to understand what worked in the past so we know what the path of least resistance is going forward into Q1 of 2026. And so I'm looking for a few key indicators, bearing in mind that we only have very, very limited data in this account. So the first I want to look at is performance by month so that we can indicate what the consistency look like, what the baselines look like, what the trends look like, etc. Number 2, understand the funnel by month. So we'll break down what the view content and add to cart ratios were, what the CPAs look like, what the cost per add to carts look like, etc. Because if there isn't a lot of volume in the account, we need to focus our attention on leading indicators. And number 3 is going to be the campaign and audience performance. So typically we'll break down every single campaign, but given that this account, which we'll see shortly, only has limited campaigns, we need to understand what's working, what's not. Is A+ working? Is lookalike audience working? Are we relying on the incorrect objectives, etc.? The fourth thing that we look at is demo performance. How is that spend being distributed if you're going broad to what age ranges, genders, locations? And the last but not least is going to be performance by either product or URL type. I've actually gone ahead and broken all these down in an audit here, which I'll go through one by one. Bear in mind that this account is limited. Usually when we're looking at very large accounts, there's a lot more data involved. Let's take a look here at what we found. And at the end of it, we will wrap it all up into a nice little pretty media plan in which we're actually going to execute on within this series. So from the top down 10,000 foot view, we have pulled every single month from last year to see if we're spending. It's very in line with what I said earlier, where not every month has spend and the client has only dabbled in the account. So here, when we sum it all up at the end, we could see the account over the course of 2025, which is last year, has spent $2,500, brought in 112 sales, $22 CPA at a 1.5x ROAS. Keep in mind, our target is going to be a 2x ROAS. They have about a $35 AOV, varying by month. So we're looking at about a $1,750 CPA is what we will be targeting. And throughout the month, there actually has been a lot of improvement in the account. First month, $300 to spend, $50 CPA, less than 1x ROAS. Fast forward to December, it seems like they kind of caught their stride or somewhat figured it out, albeit on very limited spend. They missed Black Friday. They're at $19 both in October and December at 1.66 and 1.72. Typically, this is the stage in which we will analyze like how we're trending. Right now, we're trending in the right direction, but there's so much inconsistency, which we're looking to fix today. With that said, bear in mind that we're looking at about $15,000 of spend we want to inject into the account over the next 30 days. So that's 7 times more than all of last year, which is a challenge in itself. Next, we want to look at the funnel view. And the funnel view basically tells us a couple things by month. The first, it tells us what we like to look at is the click quality, the add to cart ratio, and then the purchase over add to cart ratio as well. So click quality means based off the outbound clicks, how many website content views did you get? So typically if you're driving to a PDP, a product display page, when you get one click, you'll get one content view unless someone's browsing around. Whereas if you're going to a homepage, you might get more or you might get less just because they may not click down to the PDP. They may not have a great user experience, etc. So in this account, we want to target at least a 1x or a 100% click quality. The greater, the better. And then it seems as though cost per add to cart needs to be in like the $3 to $4 range based off of the 15 to 30% purchase rate. So again, we are striving for about a 1750 CPA that will likely translate over to like a 350 cost per add to cart. As we inject spend immediately into the account, CPAs may not follow immediately. We will be keeping an eye on the metrics of a $3.50 cost per add to cart and a click quality of about 100%. As we go down through the audit, we're going to start seeing that this is a very light account. They ran one campaign all year long. And so that one campaign averaged out to about a 1.47 ROAS, and it was an A+ campaign. And typically when A+ campaigns are run, what we like to look at is the reporting by audience segment. And those audience segments can be broken down by either cold audiences, engaged audiences, or current customers. Engaged audiences are going to be people in your middle of funnel. So people who viewed videos, who are on your Klaviyo list, who haven't purchased, people who have visited your website, for example, ad clickers, etc. Whereas your customer list, it's quite self-explanatory. Essentially your Shopify customer list, we also like to include the purchase pixel, which leads back to about 180 days. And then also we like to upload like the Klaviyo list themselves. So in this account, this was undefined. So we actually don't have the ability right now to siphon out whether all of these sales through this channel were acquisition or quote unquote remarketing the same customers that they already have. So the very first thing that we're going to do when we get into the account is actually go into the account controls and audience segments and define those. We actually did it a little bit earlier before the recording of this video, but there's still some to be done. So Klaviyo all-time customers, if you'd like to know how we actually dynamically pull that in, please comment below and I will send you a tutorial. So this is one of the issues we found as well. And because we are going to an A+ audience, it's distributing everything to everyone. And so of the $2,500 that were spent, we broke it out by gender. Here we can see that about 20% of the spend, about $500, actually went to males. It likely went to males because it has a cheaper CPM. But when we look at CPAs broken out by gender, males are not resonating with that. It's about $56. Females are at $20. You could see that reflected in the ROAS as well. So where we have a 67% ROAS, so under a 1x and a 1.7 on female. It's important to note that we actually also look at budget share and revenue share. So how much money is being spent on that segment and the revenue share. If the revenue share over indexes, which it does on female, that's an audience we definitely want to target. If it under indexes, we have to make a strategic decision whether to include it or not. And then the same thing with age as well. So with age, we could see that there are like some audiences that are over indexing and some that are under indexing. In this case, surprisingly, you're looking at the 35 plus audience that tends to be doing really well. We could see that in the CPA realms. However, I do believe that given that we have these $18 CPAs here on the 25 to 34 as well, we may have just been showing the wrong products given like AOVs vary dramatically. So we're actually going to strategically include that. And last but not least, what we like to look at, especially in this account, which is limited, is where are we driving our ads? So we pull every URL, again, very limited. There's only 3 URLs. And then we define it by, are they driving to the PDP, the product display page? Are they driving to a collection page, which this account has not done anything? Or are they driving to a home page? And then from there, we have an understanding as to, are we and should we be driving our ads to a specific destination? In this case, PDP as a whole is outperforming homepage fairly dramatically. But the one call out I have is like, this barely spent anything and the AOV was only $10. So this is likely just a fluke. In this case, when we round it all together, we will likely also be testing homepage versus PDP and showing you guys the results as that comes out. Rolling this all together for the initial plan that we would like to roll out, we have defined a $15,000 budget with the client. This is called a media plan. If you come from the media buying world, you are probably familiar with it. In our world, where we work with clients on a month-to-month basis, we like to allocate every dollar and in an initial plan every month. So at the beginning of January, we're going to have a $15,000 budget split up between 2 different types of campaigns. The first type of campaign is going to be evergreen, which is selling the chocolate bars, the kits, etc. That's going to take 80% of the budget, which is $12K. And then 20% of the budget is going to go to activations. Activations, this are very sporadic based off of the business. In this particular case, because they're a chocolate brand, they're viral, they skew young, Valentine's Day is coming up in February. And as a result, we will actually be including a full budget for Valentine's Day starting on January 19th. So this is how it all breaks down. Each green line item is going to be a campaign. Within that campaign, we see the daily budget because there's 31 days in January, and we're going to be testing 2 different audiences. Ad sets, not audiences. First, we're going to be only testing concepts, ad formats. So the idea here is that we are running a website only A+ ABO campaign. So we're leaning into A+ algorithmic campaigns. We will be splitting that up with an ABO at the beginning to be 50-50, one for static only, one for video only. The reason we're doing this is because we haven't done any format testing yet. So we need to understand what is working on the platform, what drives the lowest CPMs, the best CTRs, the best cost per add to carts, and eventually the best CPAs. That will only work if we split those up and then we know what creative to make for the back half of January, the second batch of creative, February, etc. Our targets here are going to be at $18, and we are only starting with kits. As in, we are not advertising anything that is essentially below a $38 AOV. And so if we went with dips, that's at about $16. And so that doesn't, assuming a 50% margin, I'm not going to disclose margins here, but assuming 50% margin, we need sub $8 CPA to break even. It's better if we upsell these. So with that said, $18 CPAs here. We also have some remarketing. That remarketing budget is 10% of the 80%. Which means it's only 8% of the total budget. And so here is where we are including all of our middle of funnel and bottom of funnel. We're going to drive that to homepage. It's going to be more generic. We will go through the ads and the creatives in another video. And we're going to be targeting a $9 CPA. Then with Valentine's Day, which is our activation budget, we're going to be looking at both broad for top of funnel and remarketing all of our warm with offer messaging as well. And we expect, because of the promotional activity, because of the limited product release, our CPAs are going to come down pretty dramatically, blended to about $12. So as we loop that all together, we have our projected conversions based off of spend and CPA targets. And then based off the amount of conversions that we're estimating on a $42 AOV, which is what they're at right now, we reasonably believe that we can achieve about a 3.7x return. This build fully addresses everything that we saw in the audit. It prioritizes static versus video testing, specifically in top of funnel. It includes a bottom of funnel as well that fixes the inability to target customers, inability to remarket, etc. And it focuses on an activation such as Valentine's Day, which is for a brand like this that's very gifting focused, loved focused, activity you can do with your significant other. It's likely the largest day of the year, and I presume that by the end of this month, we'll probably end up spending more than $3,000 on this.
In the next video, I'll be showing you the setup on how the media plan is practically rolled out, our choices of campaign types, ad groupings, and building the ad copy, as well as how we structure our A/B testing. If you're a seven-figure founder or e-com marketer looking to grow your brand in 2026, feel free to follow along or sign up for our weekly newsletter, The Growth Collective. Just like this channel, it's real, it's messy, and it works. If you'd like to work with us directly, our team manages $1.5 million in ad spend per month for the fastest growing e-com brands in the space. We cover the whole gamut: paid social, paid search, creative strategy, production, and email marketing. See you in the next episode.